Run it. I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off.
Hi, and welcome back to the Conscious Day Trader. Today we're going to break another very popular question that I get all the time about the ICT optimal entry. So OTE, optimal trade entry. That's what we're going to be looking at. We're going to look at the video. We've taken parts out of it from the ICT and we've broken it down into easy steps that you can take it, use it on trading and make money. It's very simple to use, but a lot of people get confused by some numbers like Fibonacci numbers, for instance. We're going to break that in detail at the end of the video with some extra content around the OTE, but also we're going to break down what settings needs to be on the Fibonacci in TradingView, so you can just copy and paste it and then you got it ready to go. Normally we're going to look at the New York retracement, which is during the New York Open, and all the little nitty gritty that goes through the video from ICT. So where do I find the OTE video if I want to trade it? This is where we're going to jump on YouTube, and you can see just by typing ICT OTE primer, it will come up with the OTE primer video, intro to ICT optimal trading. You can't see that because of my video, but if I move that out of the way, just there, you can see intro to ICT optimal trade entry. 500,000 views 5 years ago. So a lot of people have seen this video, but a lot of people don't know how to trade it and how to use it. So we're going to help them today, and we're going to go through everything about the ICT OTE. Just like last time when we reviewed the silver bullet, we've created a little bit of a presentation where I'll run you through some snippets from the video, and we'll just so we don't have to see the whole 4 to 4 minutes, just the important things that we need to identify from the ICT video. Firstly, he jumps into this little diagram here, which is the Fibonacci retracement numbers. You will see he calls it the OTE, but it's actually the golden zone, golden spiral, the Fibonacci, and latter stages of the video, we're going to explain exactly how cool the Fibonacci numbers are. And you can find them in art, you can find them everywhere in the world, the Milky Way, and so on. But as you can see, he's rounded up some numbers. So we have here the retracement of the 62, which is the 61.8 rounded up. The 70.5, which is the midsection between the 62 and the 78.6 rounded up to 79. So this area here, OTE, is the golden zone where we're looking to enter a trade. Above targets, he's used the 0.2, which is close to the 0.236, a Fibonacci number, and the 0.618 extension, or 0.62, which is an extension of, again, another Fibonacci number. He also goes on about how we get the entries when it gets how sometimes we don't get to our first entry, and that's when we're going to talk about profits, when to take profits. And that's about it. You've got it reversed here when you're selling and when you're buying on your left side. Now, with Fibonacci, if you hold on till the end, we're going to talk about OT and you're going to really understand OT in detail. But at the end, we're going to look at that Fibonacci world and how cool it is, and also how people are using it in trading to make money. So a bit of extra content today. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel, but also don't forget to drop in the comments Discord if you want to be invited to our Conscious Day Trader Discord, which is launching within a couple of days. So I'm excited about it. I know a lot of people who commented already are excited about it. And there you have it. Let's jump in. This is how it represents the MT4 at the time, how I would place the numbers in. You don't have to worry about that. We're going to show you on TradingView, so it's going to make it really simple. You can copy those, what I've put there, even the colors, to make it quite easy for you to identify where to go in. So here we are on TradingView, and Michael goes on to explain how we have a shift of structure for the OT to happen. As we can see here, we had a long time of a sell-off in price, and these are the first indications that price is creating a change of character. So he also mentions that this is not something new that he's brought in. He just he was doing it, and he realized that the Wyckoff method, the market maker, was doing pretty similar things. So this is commonalities in trading. There's not much you can find new. Yes, the fair value gap, I think, is somewhere that they probably did it, but ICT was the first to bring it to the world with the fair value gap. And it's another Fibonacci retracement, especially if you see where the fair value gaps lie, you will most likely be in a golden zone of a Fibonacci retracement, and we're going to go further into that. So with the Wyckoff method, he talks about how when we have two lower highs between a significant high, that normally has changed the conditions of the market, and that's what we can see here. So we've created the low, came about lower, took out what we know now is sell side liquidity, and broke higher. When it breaks higher, that retracement back is an indication that we've changed the character. However, that's not the optimal trade entry. Yes, you can enter here, but if you miss that move, the optimal trade entry is after taking out the highs of the original change of character in the market. So the price comes up and takes that high, and that impulsive move here, that's where we look for the OTE. We're going to see how that looks on TraderView, and this is a little bit of a summary of what Michael talks into his video. Now, the difficult part in here is you might say, okay, why not this one? For instance, this has broken higher, it came down, but look, it didn't create another significant high. So if you did, that's why it's an optimal trade entry, because if you took that entry here, it would have taken a long time to get back into profit. Whereas with the optimal trade entry, which I think is a signature for identifying this structure, I give ICT that. I haven't heard this from anyone else. Using the second push up to use the retracement for the OT to get an entry, and that happens here. That's a double confirmation, so it's quite a low risk entry. That's what we're going to train our eyes to see, is these sort of conditions, and then with the Fibonacci numbers, we're going to get in to get our profits. So next. So after that, we talks about institutional orders. One of the biggest thing with ICT you'll always hear him say is the importance of price and time. And here he stresses the price. As you can see, he was trading the euro dollar, and he was explaining that the price is always hovering around the round numbers. So the 20s, the zeros, 80s, 50s, and 20s. Yes, it's not to the pip, but there and about is where the big institutional money is getting involved. So that's what we need to have an idea of where our profits are targeted, especially around the round numbers. And in this case, is the 50 between the penny, and then the 20s and 80s getting closer and closer to those round numbers is where price is reacting. And targeted by algorithmic trading. And finally, we've arrived at where we place the OTE. Right, so the OTE, like we said, we don't take the first breakout, okay? You might say, okay, I do trade this, and you'll find me trading this as well. But if you want to be to the T of what Michael is trying to explain in the primer, it's that second push up. So we've had the change of character here. We took out the highs, took out liquidity above this high, pushed back down, failed to break the low. Then the price came up and broke the highs with an aggressive move. That aggressive move normally brings a bigger retracement, and that retracement is where we're going to place the low of that pin, of that wick there, to the high, and that retracement, we can get an entry anywhere between the 61.8 and the perfect entry around the 79, which we said is a rounded number of a Fibonacci of a 78.6. So my question to ICT would be, why not use the actual Fibonacci numbers? Why round them up? But we're talking about miniature things around. If you're taking the 78.6, it just rounds it up to 79. It makes sense to use that. But one of the questions I would have is why not use the Fibonacci retracement, and the numbers are over there. So for targets, you're going to have the 0.2 and the 0.61, which is the extension above the 0 here. We've got the target 1 of 0.2 and 0.618. Now, again, if you are doing Fibonacci numbers, we're going to look at that. That would be different. That would be 23.6 and 61.8. But also, one thing that it actually stresses is that these targets don't have to be hit every single time, and you will find opportunities if you can get a 2-to-1, so profit 2 by risking 1, a minimum of that, then you can take partial profits out of that and scale in or scale out of it. So these are not hard targets. You have to look at the conditions, like here, for instance. If you've got an entry here, that first profit scaling didn't get hit until it went back here. So profits can be taken at significantly intermediate highs, like this one, for instance, and you can scale the profits upwards. And yes, you can hold it all the way, but you don't want to risk this pushing lower and then not getting your targets for a few pips. So now we've done all the theory and what the video was about, let's jump on to TradingView and see how we can set up the Fibonacci to make sure that we've always got it ready. We don't need to do anything about it. It's there. When we see an OTE, we just throw it on there and we can trade it. And also, he does mention that the best time is around New York time, because that's when the price retraces. So what we're going to do is find a New York session, and we're going to try and trade the OTE and see how it responds. This is the last New York PM session, the Silver Bullet PM session. So let's take this one, for instance, because I can see, okay, this is not live data, but we can see it in action. So we had this significant, we've got the highs breaking, higher highs, but this is an impulsive high, and this is an impulsive high there. Now, when you see this, for instance, we've got double low highs. You see this? And that's a significant high. For this to be a valid, like we said with ICT, it would have had to broken higher than this. And this can protect you, because look at this. We've got the significant break here. If you didn't take this, it would be quite a risky position to do an OTE on that break here. It did deliver some profits, but it's not the OTE that you'll be looking for. That's the break there, and the following break higher didn't create a higher high. So this one is the lower. These are the two lower highs between the significant high. For the OTE, we would have to have something like this. That price going up there, and then you're looking for the retracement for the OTE. Okay, and that's exactly the replica, if we go back to this, of the euro trading, this one here. So that significant lower highs, we never got that increase of high to trade it higher. So that's a good example of when not to trade it. However, if you were taking this one here, and we had this structure here, this is a significant break. We had a lower highs, higher highs breaking upwards. This as an OTE, if we threw it on there, it would have delivered a nice 61.8 or 62 as in ICT OTE, sorry, for the retracement. And look at that, it's come back and found that again, that level, that 80.79 level there. So as we can see, there was no optimal entry there. Let's see if we can find it somewhere else. So we're going to have to push back, because I can see there's no optimal entry there. But what we can see here in the London session, so we had a shift of the lows here. So we had created higher highs, then we have this break lower, took out the lows of this, then came up, broke lower in a significant manner. Okay, so we've had this is the, if you put your eyes, train your eyes. So we broke below the lows here. We took out that low, came back, and then that low, significant low there. So we've got two lows and the high, and then we broke aggressively with these candles below this high here. Let's use a drawing tool to show you that. So low on the left side, low on the right side. This came back, then we pushed lower aggressively. That's a good indication that we can look for an optimal trading entry. So that's where the move started, and it pushed down all the way, came back up, pushed down, came back up, and in that area there, 61.8 or 62 if you want, that would be your entry. And we can put our entry in there. So if we use the replay to clean this up a little bit, so we've got our OTE there. We're looking for, we're risking 5 from this trade here. We can take these out now, we've talked about them. We're risking 5 pips to make 10. Okay, so a 2-for-1 sort of risk ratio. So we entered there, that's our profit there, 10. That would take us back just below the low of this move. So let's see what happens. Price comes down and smashes through our 10 pips. So that will be a successful OTE entry. Now let's look at the settings. So how I've done this, if you double click on the Fibonacci, I've created these colors just to give you, you can change these colors to whatever you want, but that gives you a nice little area there where you can use that for the OTE. And that is pretty much how you can trade the OTE. And you've got the extensions here of the 20 and the 61A. If you're still here, we're going to talk about the Fibonacci and what is Fibonacci, why is ICT using these numbers, and how do these numbers apply into trading. Everyone talks about Fibonacci retracements, so let's jump on to the presentation and I will explain to you what is Fibonacci and why do these numbers work. So here we are, we're in the Fibonacci golden spiral. Why does everyone is so passionate about Fibonacci, and why do random numbers like 61.8, 23.6, like ICT talks about in the OTE, he goes to the 78.6 or rounded up to 79. Why are these ratios working, and why do they always come up in trading? How are they related to trading? Let's have a look. It all started by this guy, and a guy called Leonardo of Pisa, also known as Fibonacci, but that he wasn't the first person to talk about the Fibonacci. It's 1300 years ago in India it was discovered, but Leonardo brought it into the Western world in 1202. So it has been there for a very, very long time, and we're still using it, and we still see it in the universe and everywhere. So it's quite fascinating that a little equation like this, which is basically adding the previous number continuous on and on and on, it can be seen and create some fascinating mathematical dilemmas for the scientists out there, why this works, and does this even explain how we are here in the universe as human beings? Yes, we're going that deep. So you got, when you add a number from 0 to 1, so 1 plus 0 is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, and so on. Those numbers have some specific properties, and what these specific properties are was discussed by Fibonacci, can be seen in every single living thing. If you count the pine cones, for instance, you will come up with a Fibonacci number. The apple seeds have 5 parts into the apple seed area. That's another Fibonacci number. What is even more fascinating about Fibonacci is the golden ratio, which we always use in the retracement of trading. If you divide any of those numbers with the previous number, especially in the big numbers, you will get a ratio of 162. Yes, that's right, 1.618, which is rounded up to 162. And if you look at this golden ratio, all it is that box plus that box will give you this box. This box plus this box will give you this box, and this box plus this, and so on. And that creates that spiral, which we are very used to in the Fibonacci world. What's interesting is that that spiral can be seen in everything. The Mona Lisa, also how water moves, it creates that spiral that is the Fibonacci spiral. In nature, you also see that Fibonacci spiral, and also in the Milky Way in our universe. So if everything in nature puts the significance in these numbers, why shouldn't we? The golden ratio, what we're used to in trading is these numbers: 23.6, 38.2, 61.8, and the 78.6. You might be thinking, where's that 76.4 that I always talk about, retracement? Where's that coming from? The 76.4 is the mirror of the 23.6. And if you look in trading, a lot of the times, we're going to jump on the chart now, you will see that retracement on over and over and over again. So in terms of ICT and OTE, you can see these numbers here: 61.8, which is the 62, the 20, which is the 23.6 if you want a Fibonacci, and the 78.6, which is the 79. You also have the 70.05, which is the 50%, so the distance, the half distance between this number and this number. We're geeking out, I know. You don't need to know all this. You just put the graph on and you get your OTE and you're good to go. But if you're still here interested, I'm sorry for you. So there you go. There we have it. That's why we look at the Fibonacci retracements. Let's do a test. Let's look at this. Let's throw the Fibonacci anywhere on the chart, and let's see what happens. That high to that low. Look at that price. Retrace straight into that golden zone of the 0618. Okay, the 61.8 retracement. Let's do another test. You can pick any of these and they will respond to these Fibonacci numbers. I bet you this is going to the 23. Comes to the 23, respects it, comes back down and stops to the 38. Is that random? Fibonacci numbers. Now, everyone, ICT and other traders in the world know this fact, and they use it because a lot of traders also use it. Traders like us, when we see these reactions, we're also influencing the market, even though algorithms are written around these numbers. So it makes sense that the price will be moving in these sort of areas. And an expansion normally retraces to roughly 50%. It all comes and plays nicely into why we use Fibonacci retracements. Now, this wasn't on Fibonacci. This was the extras that you get from joining and staying on this video for the extra minutes. But I hope you've enjoyed the OTE and it's clarified some things for you. If you have questions about it, make sure you write in the comments. So there you have it. That was a breakdown of the OTE, Optimal Trade Entry by ICT, which was recorded about 5 years ago. So if it's been a while, we also touched a little bit about on Fibonacci numbers and what they are and how cool they are. If you did like the content, make sure you subscribe and like the video, but also make sure you write in the comments Discord if you do want to get the link when it comes out very soon to join our moderator Marcel and the beautiful community that's been building up from the lives and all the way to these videos. So make sure you have a good day. Try out the OTE and let me know how it goes, and I'll see you next time.
Run it. I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs.